for how much work you can accomplish in a day. Much of the frustration for plant-based workers comes when they tell themselves, I'm going to focus on this project for 6 hours straight and I'm going to get it done today. And their baby cries, the cat claws at the door, or their children come in crying, their clever little plan falls apart, and they feel devastated, frustrated. Instead, by building a schedule that expects these things to happen, you will be prepared. You will feel more relaxed. And plus, if they don't happen, if the interruption gloriously does not occur, then you will feel like you have bonus time in your day. It's a strange paradox of our all the work that you're doing at home. This can be a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a child, even your favorite pet. Get that one individual in mind. Now, what you want to do is sit down with them and have a conversation starting with the question, what would you like us to do together each day? What's one thing that we can do together for a few minutes that you would enjoy? For example, one executive that I worked with had a conversation with her fiance, and they said that they wanted to sit out on the porch each night and just enjoy a pleasant conversation with each other. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to take long, and it doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, some of the best family oases cost absolutely nothing at all. When you go into the conversation with your loved one about this, defer to their wishes. Remember, you have your personal oasis. So, yes, you can have a say in what you do together, but your mindset should be that the other person's desires come first. I'm not a big fan of having tea parties with My Little Pony characters, but when my 7-year-old daughter said that's what she wanted, I did it because it's meaningful to her. After all, friendship is magic. Now, once you've figured out what activity you'll do together, schedule time for it in your calendar. Both. Making sure this happens consistently is important. Studies have shown that when you build up these reserves with loved ones, you not only help them perform better at work and at school, but it helps you perform better as well. This family oasis doesn't just build up the relationship, which is certainly important, but it also builds up your career. Once you've established that schedule, try it out. Treat this as an experiment for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Then sit down and ask, how has this worked for us? Is this oasis meaningful? Do we need to make any changes to it? Then make any adjustments that you both agree upon. After you get into the rhythm of doing this with one person that you care about, you can expand this to others. Perhaps you don't do it every single day with every single person. Perhaps you have something once a week or even once a month. Having this time that you can count on and they can count on is a major step toward maintaining rhythm and being successful at working from home. Congratulations on completing time management working from home. The most important thing you can do with what you've learned in this course is to take action upon it. Even if you don't do everything that I shared in this course, pick one thing. Choose one action that you'll take today to better manage your time while working from home. Then, create a reminder for yourself to return to this course perhaps 3 to 6 months from now and go through it again to look for something new that you can implement. Certainly, if you've not yet completed my Time Management Fundamentals course here in the library, I strongly recommend that you do that now, as these two courses work well together. And if you've already completed both courses, consider making my weekly Time Management Tips course a part of your training routine as well. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. You're welcome to ask me at davecrenshaw.com/ask. Thank you for watching. I wish you success and happiness as you work from home. Working from home is a wonderful opportunity. It offers flexibility and can eliminate redundancy. It can also help with helping with homes that unfortunately is between your It also presents a lot of challenges, especially when it comes to time management. In this course, we'll discuss ways that anyone who works from home or works remotely can not only better manage their time and self-focus but also have a proper balance in their personal life and manage relationships with loved ones. We'll explore creating a workspace at home that is an effective tool in helping you stay productive. We'll also discuss how to create a schedule that keeps you on task while you're sure you don't lose balance in your life. We'll cover how to better communicate with your coworkers who may be at a distance, and how to make time for both work and alone working from home. We'll discuss some strategies to help you more effectively balance the two. We'll cover all this and plenty more in time management fundamentals. This course is designed to provide many helpful tips and strategies for someone living from home or working remotely. While these tips are designed to stand on their own, this course is best used in conjunction with my more detailed course, Time Management Fundamentals. These two courses together will give you a complete strategy for how to gain control of every aspect of your time management. If you already know Time Management Fundamentals, then you're ready to dive into this course immediately. If you haven't yet completed that course, that's fine. Go ahead and complete this one now, then schedule time, sometimes 2 weeks, to go through Time Management Fundamentals to see how the lessons of each course work together. The principles that I will cover in this course apply to anyone in any kind of a remote worker situation. Even if you don't work from home on a full-time basis, you'll still find strategies that will help you for the times when you're away from a corporate office. As you go through this course, put your focus on taking action. Seek not just to gain knowledge, but implement the principles into your daily life. The shorter the distance between you learning something and acting upon it, the more success you will have. Let's get started. When it comes to managing time while working from home, your workspace is a powerful tool. It's the physical and mental boundary that you create between work and your personal life. As much as possible, you want to keep work in your workspace and you, which is everything but work, in your you space. This is similar to the principle that I teach in Time Management Fundamentals of everything has a home and no visitors allowed. Your workspace is the home for work, and the home for everything else is, well, everything outside of that workspace. I recognize that each person watching this video is going to have a diverse set of budgets and available space. So I believe the best way to approach this is to first start with the ideal, and then we'll work backwards from the ideal, helping you find adaptations that work best for you. The ideal workspace is a designated room with doors that's relatively soundproof and removed from the rest of the house. This means it's not in an open traffic area. It's not close to the front door of your house or apartment. It's a space where you can close the door and shut everything out. Within this workspace room, you have many places for homes, such as filing cabinets and stacking trays. You also have enough space for any other resources or tools that you need to perform the kind of work that you're doing at home. In summary, the ideal workspace is a home office, set aside only for work. Try to adapt this as best you can to your situation. I once worked with a real estate professional who couldn't afford to finish her basement, but she could set aside a portion of it by placing up temporary dividers to turn part of her basement into a makeshift office. But what if there's no way to find extra room in your house? Then designate a space for work and nothing else. I know of one manager who got an inexpensive desk that she could close when she wasn't working. This removed the temptation to put personal items into her workspace, which is distracting. It also helped communicate to herself and people around her that when the desk was open, she was in work mode. The stronger the visual divider you can create, the better. You're probably not comfortable with marking the floor with tape to designate the workspace, but at least mentally create a boundary line around this desk. This communicates to you and others. When I'm in this space, I am only doing work. When I'm outside of this space, I'm only doing other things. Create a clean separation in your mind. Now, what if you don't have a desk and you're in the habit of sitting on the couch reading a book? And this is easy to change that. Certainly to improve. This creates all sorts of outside, putting a chair underneath a tree, make that particular tree your work tree. See, get in the habit of going to a really good coffee shop or similar place to do that. This creates the opportunity for visual and audible distractions. Watch those commonplace everyday findings of membership in a shared workspace. Even in a public library, sitting around making phone calls. These options allow you to better focus and avoid distractions. By creating a personal space, establish a stimulating this foundation. Comes to your attention that might be a potential distraction. Pause this video, sit quietly for 2 minutes looking and listening for distractions, and return after you've completed that and written everything down. Did you do it? Great. Let's talk about some common things that can go wrong and some solutions for them. Can you desk and see or you see something like TV screens, commercials, sports scores, possibly trying to read what option is too much for space? pulled him from what he should be doing. He got an inexpensive gun and put it in his office, and the accompanying white noise drowned out the harmonies but distracting sounds of his children playing. Any visual or audible distraction that you identify is an opportunity to improve productivity. By taking just a little time to create barriers in your home workspace, you'll gain significant time and focus in the long run. In my course, Time Management Fundamentals, I emphasize the importance of processing. Processing is the act of deciding what you're going to do with something, when you're going to do it, and where its home is. Processing begins when you take one moment out of gathering. Gathering point is a place where
Si, do, la,
unresolved
si, do,
process
re, do, si, la, sol, si, la, sol, fa, si, la, sol, fa.
when working from home, processing recommend you process
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, la, si, do, re, do, si, la, mi, sol, fa, mi, re, la, mi, do, mi, re, do.
So, when scheduling processing
Do,
time,
re, mi, fa,
schedule
sol,
enough time to
sol,
process
la, si, do, la, si, do.
in your personal life. This means that my time management fundamentals recommendation of scheduling 5 hours a week for processing perhaps 7 hours a week is a good average. These 7 hours of processing can take place at any time in the week or month as long as it is consistent and on your schedule. Again, if your work requires you to keep work and personal separate, then you'll need 2 separate processing times. It's best to avoid that if possible. Also, since we're going to be doing both together at the same time, it's ideal for home-based workers to combine your work and personal gathering points. There's no need when you're working from home to create 2 different inboxes. Just put everything into one inbox and you'll process them all during processing time. In fact, if you live with other people such as children or spouse, encourage them to put any items that they want to look at in your inbox. Not only will this reduce overwhelm, but it will also Let's talk about homes for a moment. Part of processing is deciding where something belongs. Home, is an environment with needs. Gathering point is not something that you must produce. Anything like this,
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, do.
it saves you a lot of time because you're not running around trying to find the scissors and the child yours and they justify and create a separation for any expense reimbursements as well. One final note. You might also want to create a home with an outbox for for every important person that you live with. For example, I have an outbox at my workspace for my wife. That way, when processing, if I come across anything that I need
One, two, three, four, five, six, 1, 2, 3. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Invest in and upgrade your keyboard. Also, look at that mouse that you're using. I've invested in the highest Ta 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 ta.
See if you're while creating this course. While creating this course, I asked my LinkedIn network, what is the #1 challenge you experience? Let's start at the beginning of the race. What is your starting line? To answer this question, think about your sleep and health needs. The average person needs about 7 to 9 hours per night to function in a healthy manner each day. The more consistent you get these hours of sleep, the benefit of sleep you get. Let's assume that you need 8 hours of sleep each day. Let's say you can go to sleep at a reasonable hour of 10:30 each night. That means you need to wake up at 6:30 each day. From there, consider how much time it's going to take for you to get ready to eat breakfast, to do whatever it is you need to do in the morning. After considering all that, let's say that you determine your starting line for each day is going to be 2 hours after you wake up, so 8:30 a.m. You want to create starting line. This establishes when your workday begins. Now, let's consider the more challenging step, creating your finish line. At what time each day are you going to turn your brain off without thinking about work? What is the point at which you're going to say, I'm finished, I won the race for today, and I won't start it up until tomorrow? For example, personally, my finish line is at 5 o'clock each day. At 5, I no longer check email messages or do work-related activities. That may be unrealistic, so start somewhere. If you've been in the habit of working until 8 every night, then perhaps establish your finish line at 7:30 p.m. In that way, it helps you stretch just a little bit, but is a reasonable expectation. Whatever finish line you want to establish, create a brief, recurring appointment in your calendar that ends at that time. We're not done yet, though. I've found those who work from home find it difficult to make the mental transition from work to personal or family life. When you work from home, you lack the natural transition that those who travel to work have, a commute. The travel time from the office to home gives you the ability to decompress and stop thinking about work. So you likely want to create your own mental commute. I call it transition time. So from a personal example, since my finish line is at 5 p.m. each day, then I also schedule transition time at 4:30 each day, giving me half an hour
La, si, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, si, la.
Listening to an audio, watching a Netflix show, going for a jog, whatever works for you. Find an activity that signals to your mind and body it's time to stop work and it's time for your brain to calm down. Sometimes you want to have start and finish times not just to your day, but to your weeks and your months. For instance, you might say that your finish time on Friday starts at 5 p.m. and extends all the way to your start time on Monday. Or other sales kind of work over the weekend. Or if you're someone who travels frequently and has some control over your schedule, you might create a maximum amount of time that you're going to be away from home. As a public speaker, I limit the number of days that I travel a month to no more than 8. Create a plan that makes sense for you. The point is, you have control over your schedule. You can make boundaries for yourself. Once you create those boundaries, respect them. As you do that, you will find greater focus and greater ability to be productive during your daily race.
Daily race.
When I speak at events and coach my clients, I often tell them that productivity is more about rhythm than perpetual motion. What this means is that it's not realistic for us to expect ourselves to continuously perform at the same level of productivity constantly, relentlessly, without break. In fact, we perform better when we have periods of high activity, periods of low activity, periods of rest. When you're working from home, this principle becomes even more powerful and necessary to your success. Why? Because productivity isn't just about personal well-being and success. For us also account for things like sleep, helping to walk at certain times of the day, family commitment and protection, and financial habits that make members want to have meetings regularly, days and weeks where you can constantly engage productions. These other productivity things that you can do to minimize them. I want you to pretend there's nothing you can do, that there is just a pattern that's going to happen each day. Create a blank calendar or print one out that shows the days of the week and the hours in each day. Now consider your last week. When were people at work sending you lots of quick questions? When were people at home interrupting you? At what time of the day did that next door neighbor do that because distracts you? As you consider this, highlight the periods of moment, values, and preference. While you may not be able to convey the right message, you need to see a pattern to know the general period of time where the least amount of interruptions to your focus things and hours that are most valuable. If that is doing exactly what I want you to focus on each and every day of these days, this is the mindset that I teach all the way to my men, and that is for you just to understand that most of our activities are repetitive. We always repeat one or two phrase that we do, and we repeat those throughout the day. For example, if you have a series of oasis. You want to create an oasis in your day. If you think about what an oasis is, it's a place of refuge and refreshment for the desert traveler. Many people push themselves throughout their workday, depriving themselves of refreshment. But when you take regular oases, you charge yourself and help yourself perform better. The first kind of oasis I call oasis is oasis that last about 10 to 20 days, which occur about once every 90 to 120 minutes. This is Perhaps there's a show that you might watch on a regular basis. Whatever it is, schedule priorities and get done. This oasis boosts your ability to perform your best. Gives you something to look forward to. When I train people to do this, most people report that they find themselves motivated to both work harder and smarter simply because they have this fun personal oasis to look forward to. Scheduling and sticking to these oases will not only boost productivity, but help you maintain balance and become effective. Say that you followed all my recommendations in the post up to this point. You've established a schedule when you're going to focus on your most valuable activities, when your start and stop time is, when you're going to take breaks. That works perfectly for you most of the time. Simply doesn't. If work requires you to do something that breaks the schedule, perhaps they require you to attend a meeting at a time that is inconvenient or is outside the schedule you've created. How should you do that? First is simply to expect so much more happiness at work, and it depends on if our expectations are met or exceeded. Part of working from home is that you must expect that sometimes your schedule will collide with your office. Just having that expectation that it will happen perhaps once a week or once every 2 weeks will go a long way toward helping you feel okay with it. Next, as part of your expectation, you're going to want to have buffer time in your schedule. I talk about this in pretty much every course I have on time management. Buffer time is such a valuable principle in our information world because interruptions happen frequently and changes occur regularly. We cannot have our schedule on a razor's edge with no room for error. In an average 8-hour workday, we want to have about an hour and a half of unscheduled time. That gives you some flexibility when these inevitable interruptions occur. Next, as much as possible, when unexpected changes happen, move but don't break. For example, let's say that you have your most valuable activity time scheduled for Thursday afternoon from 2 to 4. At the last moment, work requires you to meet during that time. If you built buffer time into your day, then you can move a meeting in your schedule. You might move it to the next day or the day after. Remove your schedule. In this way, you can take care of the most valuable things and yet remain flexible for requirements of your company. Finally, after a schedule completely right this occurs, ask yourself, was this an incident or was it a pattern? Check if your work incidents and process patterns. Does that mean if something happens just one time, it means it's not that big a deal, it may never happen again? Statistically speaking, random stuff is just likely to happen in your life, unless it's a life or truly serious issue. It's not worth your time and attention to focus on trying to solve it anymore. But if we see this happen multiple times, for instance, you're regularly getting interrupted, taking your time at work, then we must process it. As a detailed time management fundamentals, send yourself an email or write yourself a note to take action on solving this recurring problem. When you come across that note, process it and ask yourself, what's the next step to making this change? When can I make that change occur? For example, if every Thursday at 3 o'clock your manager has the habit of calling an emergency meeting because of Friday's due dates, then perhaps you should leave that space available. Or, even better, ask your manager what you can do to help the team get ahead of schedule in the future. Some of the most successful people I know are highly sensitive to negative patterns happening in their day. When they see something happening over and over, they don't let it continue to occur, but instead they address it and take responsibility for making it better. With just a little bit of preparation and by cultivating Also, remove any kind of visual distractions to the other participants. This means that you want to be aware of what the video looks like behind you. Avoid having a monitor or television on behind you or being in a high traffic area where people are going to be walking back and forth. Additionally, as a general rule, make sure that you have a clean, strong internet connection. Much of this depends on the type of connection you have and the internet service providers. Experience one or two occasions when people show up at the wrong time or experience confusion. Here are a few tips to reduce these kinds of issues. First, I recommend somewhere in your office having a second clock or even a third clock if you're working with multiple time zones. These show the times of the people that you're meeting with. This simple thing helps you continually be aware of the cycle of your coworkers' day. In a way, having these clocks ensure that they happen to your coworkers helps them feel more respected. I have staff members who do this in their office, and just seeing their comments helps me feel easier about the job and their outstanding efforts. Also, when scheduling appointments, try to provide their perspective. When you suggest possible meeting times, always show interest in time zones. Not only does this show your respect for the other person, but it reduces the likelihood of making mistakes. If you want to show your time zones, well, that's fine. Just make sure it's in parentheses with a small flag so they recognize that their time zone matters. And that same way, it's a good idea to use the shared calendar. It automatically makes those time zone changes for you. Most modern workplace calendars, such as Outlook or Google, already have this built in. If you're not using those apps, it might be wise to run a test or two to make sure that your group calendaring tool is automatically accounting for time zones. Last, let's revisit the concept for just a moment of having a start time and a finish time each day, which I covered earlier in this course. When working with people across multiple time zones, particularly if the time zones are extremely different, it may be necessary and appropriate for me to have more than one
Tiro,
start
tiro,
time
tiro.
and finish time each day. For instance, let's say that I have coworkers who involve Denver and Beijing, China. It may need to interface with them both. I may have a start time of 2 a.m. each day and work until my first finish time at 3 p.m., where I focus on doing my work with my coworkers. Then I may start again at 10 a.m. and have a finish time at 11 a.m., giving me a window to interface with my coworkers outside of work. This is just a rough example, but it shows how you can still work with people all around the world, but have boundaries that you both respect. What we're seeing to me is the thinking that because people may be caught up in initially available 24/7, this kind of setting leads to health issues like fatigue in work and increased stress. Take some time to set up expectations and systems with your coworkers around you. You'll be able to find productive pattern to collaborate with your team. Excuse me, just a quick question. This web WP is the colleague who is one of the biggest killers to productivity when it comes to most individuals' workday. The issue with the questions comes back on when someone is working from home. While you might think the separation about meetings area is obvious and would reduce these kinds of things, I found the opposite to be true, largely because team members don't know what their home-based counterparts are doing, and may hesitate to interrupt them at all, even with a question. A way to avoid this situation with questions force you to switch away from whatever you're working on to answer the question and then switch back to listen loudly for support. Again, it's just working on small behaviors, but we talked about establishing some expectations for inconvenience messages. What are the additional things that organizations can do to deal with frequent inconvenience? First, establish a consistent one-to-one meeting schedule. This means that you and your supervisor or the supervisor and your vice president have a regular agreed time schedule where you meet with each other. This collaboration should largely be dedicated to a small
Nick, hour is done.
Also, as we mentioned earlier,
Now,
establish different expectations for different channels. If we ask someone
it's time to focus on new music.
to expect to take time for at least one business
All right, this is such a good book.
a channel such as
Good job,
should be reserved for
Brian Burns.
things that need fast and immediate responses. Also, consider response times to phone calls or video message calls. If you've seen my other courses, you'll know that I'm a big believer instead of the open door policy, the closed door open calendar policy. The open calendar policy works well for those working from home. Rather than leaving yourself open to constantly being interrupted at any time via phone call, it's better to have a reserved, open amount of time on your calendar when your coworkers can schedule themselves in for brief conversations. This greatly reduces interruptions, and your coworkers, rather than playing phone tag, can simply open up your shared calendar online and schedule themselves in for a quick phone call. Then you know, and they know, when you're going to meet and discuss a specific issue outside of your normal one-to-one meeting schedule. This allows you both to give that conversation 100% of your attention. In the end, responding to
attention.
questions is about respect and boundaries. By establishing boundaries with your coworkers, you'll deal with issues in a timely manner and be better able to maintain focus. When you have a long-distance work relationship, it can be tempting to view those that you work with in a transactional manner. What I mean is that rather than seeing other people as human beings with a unique personality, you begin to view them as names with email addresses, human vending machines that if you put in a certain input, you get a certain result back. This mindset is almost counterintuitively unproductive. It may be helpful to be quick and get to the point for lots of small tasks. However, when it comes time to collaborate with others or to get their buy-in for your ideas, if you haven't taken just a little bit of time to build and maintain a relationship with them, you'll likely find the communication to be slow and difficult. You may even find yourselves at odds with each other because of an underlying lack of respect. On the other hand, when you take time to build relationships, collaboration becomes more interesting, more insightful, and more productive. So, how can you build professional relationships if you're working from home and other people are miles away from you? Here are a few tips that I've used and seen others use successfully. First, be aware of the obvious things. By the obvious things, I mean things like your coworkers' birthdays, anniversaries, and other significant life events, such as the birth of a child. I recommend that you get this information and put it into your calendar. Create a reminder for yourself, maybe a day or two before the event, that your coworker has an important date upcoming. When that reminder pops up, ask yourself if there's something nice that you can do about it. I have employees that work a great distance from me. One thing that I like to do is, on their birthday, send them some silly meme with a picture like "Your birthday is Chuck Norris approved," but then also send them a gift, something that would be meaningful to them. Honestly, it's not much, and perhaps I can make more of an effort, but at least it's something. When you compare that to the interactions that most other people have in their life, you're likely doing something very nice and out of the ordinary. A second tip related to this is be aware of cultural or national holidays. If you work with people who are of a different nationality or religion, it might not hurt to look up what holidays they celebrate or to even ask them about them, to learn about them. In this way, you can be sensitive to their needs for a little time off, and at the very least, just recognize the holiday and wish them a happy Canada Day or whatever that's applicable to them. A loose brick is a personal hobby or interest that allows you to move past the sterile professional wall and get to know someone personally. In your virtual meetings with coworkers, try to take a little bit of time to get to know them personally. What are their hobbies? What are the things that they're interested in? What's their family like? While you want to maintain a professional relationship with people, I believe that there's power in adding an aspect to it where you're aware of what they are interested in and try to do something for them around that. For instance, if I have a coworker that's interested in antique cars, if I come across an article online about cars, I could send that to them and share that with them. Or if I was a manager and even had a little budget to do something nice for those I supervise, I could send a book about antique cars to that person. These little gestures don't take a lot of time and typically not a lot of money. But when working from home and seeking to build a long distance professional relationship with coworkers, these things make an enormous difference. People do remember them. When you make even the smallest effort, you'll find that the times you come together to work to create things will go more smoothly. You can even find you develop a new friendship, even if it's with someone many miles away. Working from home can be a challenge regardless of your life situation. And if you work from home and also have loved ones who live in that home and you care about them, you have an additional set of challenges. I'm referring especially to people who have children at home or where they also act as a caregiver for a loved one while they're home working. Many people also have pets who share their workspace. In the same way that freedom is a blessing and a curse for you working from home, the freedom creates opportunities and potential confusion for those you live with. This is why it's especially important to establish boundaries for yourself with them. In earlier videos, I asked you to create a starting line and a finish line for your day. I recommend you start by discussing that work schedule with loved ones. Come in with an open mindset so that you can find middle ground when needed. If you're talking to an adult, this will be a fairly simple conversation in which you're just negotiating the hours and perhaps making some small adjustments to accommodate their needs. In this conversation, what you're looking for is agreement. Agreement in terms of when you will be working and when you will not be working and be available to them. At the end, you should make a commitment to them that you will honor that agreement. It's also reasonable to ask them to make a commitment to you that they will also honor that agreement in turn. For example, I've committed to my family that I will stop all work each day at 5 p.m. and that I will not work on the weekends. In turn, they've committed to allow me to stay focused during that time by not interrupting me with anything that isn't a true emergency. They honor their commitment because they know I will honor mine. Now, what if you have children who don't have a schedule like that? Or maybe they're just getting used to the idea of having a calendar. I find it's helpful to talk in terms of specific numbers on the clock. For instance, at 5 o'clock, this is dad at home time. This is when you have access to me. Before that time, it's work time, and dad needs to stay focused. This also means that I need to look if I need to help have my children be safe and occupied during the times that they're home. Whether that means putting an older child in charge, or having a babysitter come over for a couple of hours, or having a place for them to go for the hours in between when school ends and when my work time ends. Quiet time is another system that's been helpful in my house. This is a set up time of the day where everyone is expected to work quietly or play quietly in their room, usually for a couple of hours, such as from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. This time not only provides my wife and I as parents a much needed break, but also helps our children learn that they do not constantly need to be entertained or stimulated. Now, if you have pets, you're also going to need to come up with a schedule for them. Of course, they're not going to understand what a pet schedule is, but animals are very often creatures of habit and daily rhythm. Remember, you you want to have periods of intense, focused work, periods of perhaps slower work where you're able to give them partial attention, and then downtime where perhaps you focus and spend time and take the dog for a walk or play with the cat a little bit. Be strategic about it and plan this in advance in your calendar. It may take a few weeks of practice for you to both get used to the schedule, but you can find a pattern that works. Many people, when they start working from home, go with the flow. They allow themselves to be interrupted by family members. That's a recipe for constant distraction. Instead, think about it, create a strategy, and then work that strategy out with loved ones. These boundaries will help you both be focused during work and pay attention to them when it's time to enjoy the other side of life. If you work from home and live with others, you will be interrupted. It is unavoidable. However, there are some strategies that you can put in place to minimize the impact and reduce the frequency of these interruptions. First, it's essential that you put extra buffer space in your day. I recommend that most people have about an hour and a half of buffer space in an average 8-hour work day. This is the time that's scheduled for nothing to leave room for interruptions that happen in the pace of our modern lives. If you work from home and have children or pets or act as a caregiver, I recommend you schedule even more buffer time in your day. This empty buffer space gives you flexibility and freedom to deal with these interruptions when they occur. They also help you set a much more reasonable expectation for how much work you can accomplish in a day. Much of the frustration for home-based workers comes when they tell themselves, I'm going to focus on this project for 6 hours straight and I'm going to get it done today. And then the baby cries, the cat claws at the door, or their children come in crying, and their clever little plan falls apart, and they feel devastated, frustrated. Instead, by building a schedule that expects these things to happen, you will be prepared. You will feel more relaxed. Plus, if they don't happen, if the interruption gloriously does not occur, then you will feel like you have bonus time in your day. It's a strange paradox of our information overloaded world that when you try to do less, you accomplish more. In addition to just having unstructured buffer time, plan so that your schedule has focus times for loved ones on a consistent basis. For instance, a common scenario for many working parents is that their children arrive home at a certain time each day. While the children do not need constant attention, that first half hour of when they return home is usually when they want to tell you about their day, decompress, make sure that you're there. For example, if your children get home at 3 o'clock each day, you may schedule time from 3 to 3:30 to give them attention for that first half hour and maybe a little buffer time, say 15 minutes before and after, to help you transition to it and transition back to work afterward. You can also set the expectation for them that if they have questions or needs, they should ask it during that time. And then you're going to go back to work and be focused. And during that time, they need to take care of things themselves. Now, that sounds great. Wouldn't it be nice if everything happened exactly that way? But it won't. When an unexpected interruption comes from a family member, ask them, or even ask yourself, can this wait until my finish line? For instance, if I'm going to stop work at 5:30, can it wait till then? By asking this question, you're bringing attention to the need to stay focused. You may realize that what you think is an emergency is really just an impatiency. If it can't wait until the end of the day, perhaps there's a natural break coming soon. Ask the person interrupting you, can this wait until 4 p.m.? I'll be able to focus on it then. If the person is bold enough to understand time, they can make a self-assessment. Even children can think about this and develop more awareness and respect for time. I'm not talking about not taking care of a loved one when they have a real need. If there's a real need, then we must respond. But the simple question of, can this wait, helps us and our loved ones separate emergencies from impatiencies. Of course, what if it's with someone who can't understand time? What if it's with a very young child or even a pet? One tool you can use is to set a timer for yourself. Ask yourself, how long can I wait until I deal with this? Pick the longest reasonable amount of time. For instance, if the dog can wait 10 minutes until I let them out, then set a timer for 10 minutes. Allow yourself to stay focused on what you're doing and then switch gears in the future. Clearly, this isn't perfect, and we can't expect perfection, but we can implement small changes into our day, little systems that will slow down the rate of interruptions and allow you to stay more focused while at work. And focus is everything when it comes to working from home. Earlier in this course, I talked about the importance of scheduling meaningful breaks for yourself. I called them oases, as in an oasis in your daily desert of work. These little meaningful breaks help you be more productive and more successful. Well, the people who love you and care about you and live in the same house also need these oases. These meaningful breaks give them something to look forward to, so they feel that you're not always going to keep your head down and work. It also helps them have greater motivation to support you and your focus when you work from home. You established a personal oasis and a work oasis. If you work in a home with loved ones, you also need to establish a family oasis. This is time set aside for people who you love and care about. A moment where they know they can count on, where you're giving them undivided attention. Then they are more likely to respect your time the rest of the day. What I'm referring to should happen far more frequently than a vacation. A vacation is typically once or twice per year at most, and that is too far in between for those you care about to have time with the person they care about most in the world, you. Well, even if you drive them a little crazy from time to time, they need the time and the power that comes from moments spent with their greatest champion. So how do we set that up? As a starting point, let's look at one relationship that's most important to you. The one person you spend the most time with. The one person who helps you the most in all the work that you're doing at home. This can be a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a child, even your favorite pet. Get that one individual in mind. Now, what you want to do is sit down with them and have a conversation starting with the question, what would you like us to do together each day? What's one thing that we can do together for a few minutes that you enjoy? For example, one executive that I worked with had a conversation with her fiance, and they said that they wanted to sit out on the porch each night and just enjoy a pleasant conversation with each other. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to take long. It doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, some of the best family oases cost absolutely nothing at all. When you go into the conversation with your loved one about this, defer to their wishes. Remember, you have your personal oasis. So, yes, you can have a say in what you do together, but your mindset should be that the other person's desires come first. I'm not a big fan of having tea parties with My Little Pony characters, but when my 7-year-old daughter said that's what she wanted, I did it because it's meaningful to her. After all, friendship is magic. Now, once you've figured out what activity you'll do together, schedule time for it in your calendar, both of your calendars. Making sure this happens consistently is important. Studies have shown that when you build up these reserves with loved ones, you not only help them perform better at work and at school, but it helps you perform better as well. This family oasis doesn't just build up the relationship, which is certainly important, but it also builds up your career. Once you've established that schedule, Try it out. Treat this as an experiment for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Then sit down and ask, how has this worked for us? Is this oasis meaningful? Do we need to make any changes to it? Then make any adjustments that you both agree upon. After you get into the rhythm of doing this with one person that you care about, you can expand this to others. Perhaps you don't do it every single day with every single person. Perhaps you have something once a week or even once a month. Having this time that you can count on and they can count on is a major step toward maintaining rhythm and being successful at working from home. Congratulations on completing time management working from home.
Oh my god. したね。
Working from home. It's simple. You want to be on a team with people who deliver. Teammates who do what they say. You know that success and your team success all come down to how your virtual team holds itself accountable. But here's the truth you might not know. Your team accountability depends on you. Your success are in influencing your teammates to keep theirs. My name is Mitch Simon, and I've been coaching Fortune 500 CEOs and their teams virtually and in person for the last 20 years, specifically teaching teams how to create results based on the promises they make to each other. In this short course, you will learn how to make promises others can rely on, enhance your team members' ability to keep their promises, and learn what to do when promises are broken in the virtual world. So, are you ready to have the freedom that the virtual world provides and the accountability that you can count on? Thought so. Let's begin. If you've been to a wedding recently, okay, a virtual wedding, you've probably heard the couple say, "We promise to love, honor, and cherish till death do us part." At that very moment, they made a vow. No matter what occurs, for better or worse, rich or poor, sickness or health, they'll generate love, honor, and cherish one another. Through those magic words, they made a promise. A promise isn't an idea. accountable? Do they want kind and gentle, or are they looking for a true drill sergeant? Hold them accountable. Set a deadline. Set a specific accountability. Show them that they're working with their teammate. However, hold them accountable. No excuses. Seriously, that's what we should do.
¿Qué onda, mami?
¿Dónde andas?
En mi trabajo, ¿y tú?
Ah, qué bueno, pues nada más saludándote. Yo dije, ay, a ver si me contesta, a ver dónde anda.
¿Dónde anda? ¿Cómo te la has pasado sin mí?
Ay, pues sí te extrañé. Fueron días así como de tristezamiento, ¿no?
Pero
bien,
qué bueno.
ya dándole, pues acomodando mi agenda, que esta semana estuvo bien tranquila. Entonces, pues ya para la siguiente semana ya me voy a mis masajes y empiezo el ejercicio. ¿Tú cómo estás?
Muy bien, pues he ido a correr todas las mañanas, ya fui al súper, ya preparé mi comida.
Ay, qué bueno.
Sí, no la verdad es que ya me hacía falta regresar aquí y,
Qué bueno, y fueron bien poquitos días.
y ser súper productivo. Sí, pero para mí se sintió como... ¿Qué me escuchaste?
Pues qué bueno, y que estés tranquila. ¿Y qué plan para tu?
Para mi cumpleaños, yo creo que voy a pasármela ya con el SAC.
Ah, ok.
Ya, pero algo relajado.
Ah, muy bien. ¿Y del bebé qué has sabido?
Nada, pues que salió muy bien de la cirugía.
Bendito Dios.
Y ya, más nada.
Ah, pues qué bueno.
Pero pues que salió muy bien.
Pues qué bueno. Pues nada más la recuperación.
Y
Yo
ya.
no he hablado con Silvia para no enchincharla porque luego uno está muy estresado por esos temas. Y ya, pues nada más pues me espero las noticias.
Pues muy bien. Y mi abuela, el hermoso, el más maravilloso, el rey.
¿Quién, el bebé? Ay, se pasa. Después de que no se quitaba la fichita de encima y él ni lo pelaba.
find not satisfied, listen for what the issue is and determine what you can do to satisfy the customer. Finally,
how's it going, Isaac? Right now I'm just practicing because I got into I think I told you I got into the DMA, and now I have to practice for hours non-stop. So I am at the office. I was taking a little break. Well, some of the classics. And I'll see you on Sunday. Since I am back on track, I'll be there. I don't know if you guys are playing soccer or not, but I'll join you. Check out my tie. Check out this baby with little guitars. So happy. How have you been? How's your brother doing with his recovery?
First, reposition conflict. Let's face it, most people hate conflict. So try to make conflict fun. Yeah, it can actually be fun. At the beginning of each project, talk about the benefits of disagreement and conflict. Then highlight areas where conflict is bound to happen, and then practice conflict to break the ice. Practice with a topic that doesn't have much behind it. Encourage your teammate to take their viewpoint, make strange, and write it down. Then share your own opinion and follow the looking for the greatest differences and noting how fun it is to actually disagree. Afterwards, talk about the benefit and the challenge of each conflict. By doing this, you make it look easy.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Generated through that disagreement. Next, follow a set of norms for how to disagree. When you have a disagreement, first send an email.
Nice. That's good to hear. It's good to hear that he's all good.
I'm uncomfortable about how we left the conversation or the project, and I want to set the time to talk about it. This allows the other person to think about it. When you get on the phone, ask the person first about the nature of the truth. Before you share the next time, share what you heard the other person say. Then and only share your side of the story. Once you feel that both sides are sharing, ask the other person what they hear. Remind each other that you both wanted to brainstorm suggestions and demonstrate to a solution that partners might want to finally, celebrate each time you have a conflict. You probably hate conflict just as much.
Mexico was good. I got to see my mother, spend good time with her, and I got to see my siblings and everything. So it was a good time, but I was so ready to come back because I like staying busy, and in there I was so relaxed, just enjoying time and everything. So I was very ready to get back to work, you know. It was too much. It was too chill. It was absolutely bananas. I was waking up probably like at 10 or something, and then just going slow, eating so much food. I gained a few pounds. but I think it was worth it. I know for sure that it was worth it. Oh, hello, Yehuda. It's great to see you. I'll see you guys on Sunday. I'll be there at the good old sea. I got to see everyone, my grandmother and everything, and my dad also flew down there. So it's been years since my whole family from my dad's side got together. It's not that many. We're not that many in my family, but regularly I see them without my dad, or some of the brothers are not there, but everybody was there. So that was a cool thing to see and have them there. So that was fun. What are you guys going to play? Are you talking about football, soccer? Oh, okay. Um, no, like board games plus dinner. Dinner sounds very good. I think I could be there for a little bit, for like an hour and stuff. I have so much papers. Um, I have to read four essays and then a few chapters of a book. But I've been working all day long today, so I think I do deserve a little bit of a break. So yeah, I'll be down to play for like an hour if that's okay. If I can just stop by for a little bit. Yeah, yeah, just text it. Don't put it on the chat. But thank you for the invitation, and I'll see you guys later today. All right, cool. I'll see you tonight. See you later, Isaac. Thanks for. Yum, dita 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 dum.
trust is the greatest currency in achieving the most.
Ay, una parte de mí está enojada.